Missing in the Mountains, the chilling tale of two friends and a town's dark secret. When two best friends set out for a relaxing vacation in the mountains, they expected solitude, fresh air, and a much needed escape. What they found instead was something far darker. A town with secrets, a legend they never knew, and a nightmare they could never forget. This is the chilling true crime inspired mystery of Rachel and Emily, and the vanishing that shook a quiet mountain town. Part 1: The Arrival. Rachel Carter and Emily Brooks had been inseparable since college. Now in their early 30s, life had pulled them in different directions: jobs, relationships, obligations. But they always made time for an annual getaway. That summer, they chose Gray Pines, a remote town nestled deep in the Appalachian Mountains. They booked a rustic cabin off the grid. No Wi-Fi, spotty cell service. Peace and quiet. Locals in town greeted them with polite nods, but not much more. Some watched them a little too long. Others whispered when they passed. Still, Rachel and Emily chalked it up to small-town charm, or maybe just boredom. Their first few days were uneventful. They hiked, took photos, read books by the fire. But on the third night, things started to feel off. It began with the footsteps just outside their cabin. Soft, deliberate crunches in the gravel. They stopped when either of them opened the door or turned on a light. Then came the whispers, indistinct and fleeting, like a conversation just out of reach. Emily, ever the skeptic, thought it was animals. Maybe a raccoon. Rachel wasn't so sure. One night she saw someone, a man, maybe, standing at the edge of the woods, watching, not moving. By morning, there were scratches on the cabin's back door. Faint, but long. Clawed or carved. They reported it to the sheriff, a weathered man in his 60s named Sheriff Dunley. He barely reacted. Kids, he muttered. They mess with tourists sometimes. Don't let it ruin your trip. But Emily noticed something strange. The sheriff didn't write anything down. He didn't even ask what the man looked like. Part 3: The Disappearance. On the 5th day, Emily went for a morning run along a trail near the cabin. She never came back. Rachel waited. Hours passed. She retraced the path. No sign, no shoe prints. No phone, nothing. Panic set in. She called the sheriff again. This time, he seemed more irritated than concerned. Folks get lost in those woods, he said. Should turn up. But something wasn't right. Rachel went into town. She asked locals if they'd seen Emily. Most shook their heads. Some avoided her entirely. One woman, older, wearing a church dress and a cardigan, said something Rachel couldn't forget. Y'all should have never come here. You don't know what's buried in these trees. Part 4: The Legend. Digging through the public library, Rachel found an old microfilm archive. And that's when she uncovered the truth. In the late 1970s, Gray Pines was the center of a gruesome investigation. 6 women, all outsiders, had vanished over a span of 5 years. Their bodies were eventually found in shallow graves, each missing their left ring finger. The killer was never caught. Locals called him the Mountain Groom. Rumors said he believed he was marrying his victims. Each ring finger taken as a symbol. The case went cold. The town stopped talking about it, but Rachel feared. Someone never stopped doing it. Part 5: A Town That Protects Its Own. Rachel confronted the sheriff, desperate. Why didn't you tell us about the murders? He said nothing. Where's my friend? Still nothing. Just a hard stare. And then quietly, lest you leave, Miss Carter. You ask too many questions in Gray Pines. You end up part of its story. Rachel drove out that night, speeding down winding roads, heart racing. She reported Emily's disappearance to the state police. Weeks later, a search was conducted. They found nothing. No body, no evidence. No sign Emily had ever even been there aside from the cabin reservation, but Rachel knew what she saw, what she heard, and what she lost. Part 6, Unsolved or Ongoing. Today, Emily Brooks remains missing. Officially, the case is still under investigation, but no leads have ever surfaced. Rachel has spoken publicly about the events, launching awareness campaigns for missing women in rural areas. But Grey Pines remains quiet, tight-lipped. Tourists still visit, drawn by the beauty. Some stay in the same cabins, but they don't know what Rachel knows. The legend of the mountain groom may be more than just a story, and maybe, just maybe, he's still out there, watching, waiting, choosing his next bride. If you enjoyed this mystery, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more chilling unsolved stories. And remember, not every vacation ends with a postcard. Sometimes it ends with a legend.